You're listening to the After Dark podcast with NT Paranormal. Nothing normal about it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ashton Rogers.
And I'm Sarah Hatfield.
And here at the After Dark podcast, we like to talk about, spooky things, paranormal, dark, macabre, serial killers, things like that, just if you're new. But yeah, we've been on break for a little while.
Yeah, quite a while. Holidays, family stuff.
End of the year is usually kind of hard for, I think most paranormal groups, because, since most of us do it as like a, kind of like a side project sort of deal, we all end up with like family obligations, work obligations, things like that. So, but what I see a lot of is a lot of people putting a lot of strain on themselves to try to, keep producing content and stuff. And we just said,
then it becomes not fun.
Yeah, so that's why we kind of stepped away from it for a little while. We were like, let's take a little 3-month break, not try to produce content and keep up with a bunch of stuff and just give ourselves a headache. So we've been out of the game for a little while, but we're back now. We're going to try to go back to doing the podcast every Thursday around the same time.
So we're going to be doing some Saturday, though, with Allie, our true crime reporter.
Yeah, we're going to do a true crime episode with Allie Bolton this Saturday. So you guys also get a bonus episode. What is this weekend's topic?
Cults.
Cults?
Yes.
Like the football team?
Mostly death cults.
Oh, death cults.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, like the football team.
Are those like Death Eaters?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
What?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I have no idea.
They're prisoners of Azkaban.
I guess we'll answer it this weekend. I was like, what makes a death cult and different from like a murder cult and all that? But I guess these are all questions I should say for Saturday.
Yeah, stupid.
What we're talking about today is
death cults.
No, we're not talking about death cults today.
No, I'm going home.
If we talk about death cults without Allie, then she will firebomb the group with her own death cult. No, a couple of weeks ago we live streamed from Gainesville.
Last weekend?
Was it last weekend? I think it was 2 weeks. I think we skipped a week. I don't know, but we came back and we came back hard. We had
2 weeks, I guess.
We had Hill House Manor in Gainesville scheduled, and we did a live investigation from there. And I think the results were really good. It was actually our second trip out there.
I don't know, but Emilio says Death Cults is an amazing football team name.
Death Cults is... Well, the XFL is coming back. I love arena football.
I thought you didn't like arena football because I was like, I love arena football, and you were like, arena football's stupid. And I was like, but I like arena football.
No, I said arena football is ridiculously violent, and I love arena football more than the NFL.
But yes, like the Manson cult and the Jim Jones cult.
Yeah. Well,
the Manson cult was... Never mind, we'll talk about it then.
I guess we'll differentiate Saturday. Yeah, let's get back on topic.
Hill House.
I guess that was my fault.
And we've done Hill House before.
Yeah.
We did it with Haiti. What's the name of her group?
Unseen Paranormal.
Spelled wrong.
Yeah. Completely spelled wrong.
Okay. So, yeah, she came out, and we did the Hill House thing with her, and it was hot.
Yeah, it was the middle.
Awful.
It was the middle of summer, so
they have no AC.
So one thing, the first thing I didn't know about Hill House, which I don't know, I should have assumed it because it's just like any other location we did, but a lot of it doesn't have power. In fact, there's only power in like 3 rooms of the house, which means no air conditioning. And like idiots, we did it in the middle of summer.
Julie asked, "Where's Gainesville in relation to us?" It's just due north, and it's like head towards Oklahoma, and it's the last big town on the way there.
It's
right after Denton.
Yeah, it's a little bit past Denton, and before you get to the border, that's where it's at. And actually, if you look up Hill House Manor, a lot of people think it's in Oklahoma because it's so close. I mean, Gainesville's right there. Steven's uncle's ranch is in Munster, Texas, which is just to the west of Gainesville. And one time Brandon was actually coming up, and he was like, well, just past the Red River, so oops. It's that close to the border. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's past Denton by about 45 minutes.
And I think you have family. You have family in Gainesville.
My
lives
Mimi, Steven's grandma lives in Gainesville, and his uncle, like I said, has the ranch and then has the lake house in Gainesville.
I'd never been up there. It's about what would you say from here? 2.5 hour drive.
Something like that. I know it's 3 from my house.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours from Fort Worth. That means it's. If it's 3 from your house, it's 2 hours from here.
Well, but we were also going to Lake Kiowa when we visit Mimi. I didn't time it when we went to the Hill House.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's a good drive.
It's not close.
But we did some different things this time. I got there incredibly early to set up. One of the things that kind of went... So we live streamed a little bit from the first investigation, and I think it was mostly to Hades' group page. I don't know that we actually streamed to our page at all.
I don't remember.
I was having problems with the live stream, and one of the big problems was we got out there that evening, and it was I didn't do enough prep planning.
Yeah, things were just kind of a mess.
Well, I was trying to get everything set up, and I was doing that thing where I feel real pressured because everybody's, waiting on me to get my thing done because my function is primarily as like a tech person. I was sitting there trying to get it together, and nothing was working. Like every investigation we go on,
everything breaks, nothing works.
Everything
right?
breaks, nothing works. None of the power outlets are going. So that was really frustrating, and yeah, I couldn't get the live stream going. It was the first time I had the live webcast
okay.
and that was supposed to be the test for it, and it didn't work. And then we were just weak.
I had a really rough day. I'd had like some family drama, and then I'd driven all the way out there, and I wasn't feeling good.
Mm-hmm. And you had recently had your first blood clot.
Yeah, I was really sick. Yeah, so something about going to Hill House gives me blood clots.
Yeah, because you had a blood clot this time, too. You just got out of the hospital for blood clots.
Yeah, but this time it was only in my leg, not my lungs, so a lot different. A pulmonary embolism is a lot different than a deep vein thrombosis. But anyway, and last time, it was like over 100 degrees. We discovered that the place had bed bugs about halfway through the investigation, and everyone freaking panicked.
Yeah, and we ended up doing the investigation, and we did our best, but it just didn't go well because everybody was just so miserable.
Hurt and everybody was tired.
We couldn't concentrate. We weren't paying attention to a lot of stuff. But we did get a lot of good footage out of there. We got like some interviews out of the way, learned some cool stuff about the location. And it was a good prep visit for going. So we knew exactly what we needed to do to set up this time. So I went extra early, set up extra cameras, got all the audio we and everything knocked out of the way. So we started on time. Actually, I think we ended up starting early.
Yeah, we started. We had enough time that me and Dad came out pretty early too. That you set up all the stuff. We got pizza. We made fun of their. But Dad had left a book there, a composition book.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the pre-investigation was really interesting.
Yeah, Dad had left a composition notebook there last time we'd gone, and he was like, hey, this is mine. I love to hear, but people had been writing
notes about their... Because it had some of our notes about the investigation at the beginning of it, because it was our composition.
And then other groups had left notes about their investigations.
But the pre-investigation was fun, because I'm setting up, I'm in the well room, and I just hear this...
This is when we met Quincy.
Meow, meow. Meow, and I'm like, there's a freaking cat in here, and I'm looking around, I can't figure it out, and we realize that the cat's in the walls.
They've got a well in the floor, and they've got a plexiglass sort of box around it, and the cat's down in the well and wants to come up through the plexiglass, but he can't. And we named him Quincy. If you don't know, there's a comic about how cats stare off into space, and the cat's seeing a centipede creature, and it's like, it's you and me now, Quincy. So we named the cat Quincy.
Right. How did y'all coax him out from under the house?
Kristen just went and called him.
Oh.
There was a...
Because I was really worried about him contaminating the investigation.
There was an open spot for the crawl space, and she just said, here, kitty, kitty, and he...
just popped out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we think he lives there, because there's like a cat bed and like toys and stuff on the
Well,
porch.
we know he lives there, because we read the composition book, and that was...
Oh, it's my favorite thing.
That was the best... That was the best thing ever.
Because like the first paragraph is, we heard the ghost cat again.
Yeah, it's like this group that keeps going back.
I saw the ghost cat this time. Heard ghost cat meowing. And one of the groups, it's a different group, different handwriting. Goat cat brushed up against my leg during this investigation.
Goat cat?
Ghost cat.
I like goat cat.
Kristen, I like her note at the end. Petted the cat. It's a real living cat. All these people think they've been seeing a ghost. And it's just funny.
It is. It's funny.
It's
but it's also a
hysterical.
testament that, like, you know, if you go looking for ghosts, you're going to find ghosts.
Ghost
even
cats.
if there's not.
But
Yeah.
it's just, I'm just curious now how many people are showing their friends, oh, I got this EVP of this cat meowing. And it's just Quincy.
Yeah, it's just this. It's this, and he's a real pretty gray tabby, and he was a good kitty.
He looks like he's part Siamese. He's got the ear markings, but yeah, we petted him for like 2 hours, and he still wanted more. He was a very friendly little kitty.
Hey everybody, I see y'all tuning in. What's up, Kenny?
Leo was talking about the drawing for the show review.
Show review. Yeah, I asked everybody to leave reviews and stuff last time. We actually did the drawing for the show review. I don't and I should have remembered the name of the person that won. But,
Yeah, you should have.
well, they already got their prize. They ended up getting a book and a T-shirt. And then we did another review. I had set up the prototype laser microphone, and I remember Emilio won that, and he actually picked that up recently. And yeah, so he's got our prototype laser microphone, and he's actually going out to Warehouse 9 on Saturday, and I think they're going to use that. We used it at Hill House, and I got some interesting results with it. I don't know that we got anything paranormal, but we did definitely record a bunch of infrasound stuff with it. So now he has a laser mic that I made, and he's going to use that this weekend. And I will remember that. I will find the name of the person that won the other thing, but I just didn't make a big announcement about it. We'll end up doing like another giveaway, probably in a month or so. Or I know we'll definitely be doing one in April.
Yeah.
While we're at Tyler, we'll be doing a raffle probably for a starter ghost kit.
Yeah, ghost hunting kit is what we usually do.
Yeah. Ghost Cats of the South by Randy Russell. Yeah, no problem, Leo. I appreciate you asking. Sorry you didn't win, man. maybe next time though we will do another giveaway.
Yeah, we do them pretty often.
Yeah, because we want to buy your viewership.
Yes,
because it's the only way.
Watch, we'll give you money.
Speaking of viewership, you know, I've been really upset, and I was thinking about not doing our Amazon.
You've been real butthurt because people left mean internet comments.
People leave really trolly reviews of our stuff, and
because
I know
no one ever comments unless
I know
it's
going to
negative.
happen, but it's just so much. And I was just like, screw it. I don't want to do it anymore or whatever. And I was checking the other day, and our views were actually, like, even though the reviews
were bad, but
the viewership on it is really high. And so I'm kind of encouraged by it.
If it's like me on Amazon, like if something has low stars, I'll actually go to the reviews and I'll read them and decide if I think they're trolly or if I want to watch and figure out for myself.
That's also why I make a point to leave good reviews of stuff. I'll leave 5-star reviews, and I will write what I think about it. I will also leave hilarious reviews.
It makes me angry when people ask me to review things. I'm like, no.
That's the only thing I don't like about the review. If you review something ever and a question
just
pops
doing
up,
doing it.
Yeah, it's like there's a question about this item that you left a review on. I'm like, I don't fucking care. Leave me alone. Anyway.
Yeah, Steven's been reviewing things on Google now because he answered one question, and now Google Maps sends him a question anytime he's anywhere.
He's a celebrity now. He's the
because he made that crack about the Cleveland McDonald's.
There's something I reviewed that was hilarious. I think it was my bidet or something. I was like, this is life changing, and it was awesome.
Anyway, Hill House.
Where was I at? We were talking about the kitty.
We talked about the kitty and how we went early to set up and how we were running things a little different. And I didn't know when you wanted to do the history of this location.
So the history, no, I mean, I get into the history. I always like the history, but I'm having a really fun time with the history of this place right now. I am just balls deep in a rabbit hole on this thing.
Balls deep.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we went out there, I knew something. I figured something was up. So anywhere we go, we pull a history report on. Like I pull all the public tax records, people that own the place. I have a few accounts where in a few different websites where you can look and see if there's any confirmed deaths that were registered to that address.
Not that I think this has anything to do with hauntings, but.
Some people think it does. I don't know, but I like knowing the history.
We do the history anyway, just in case there's someone watching who thinks there's a link between dead people and hauntings.
So the funny thing is I pulled up all the public records, and I had a pretty good idea of like, okay, the house was built in 1920. There's no deaths linked to it, but 4 of the names on the list of names that are linked to the place are currently deceased. A bunch of different stuff, and it went back to who the supposedly the original owner was, when it was built, things like that. And then we get out there, and the place is owned by, it's called Hill House Manor because it's owned by a lady named Linda Hill, which she purchased it a while back and has been doing paranormal investigations in it for a while after she couldn't rent it out. And she's a published author too. She writes about paranormal activity and things like that, but she was telling me a completely different history of the house, and it wasn't matching up because she was telling me it was built in like 1880, and I was like, well, all the records say 1920, and this, and so I was a little bit kind of, I mean, not trying to be like off-putting or say somebody's lying or anything like that, but I always kind of take everything with a grain of salt when somebody
research
owns
for ourselves
a place. And it wasn't matching up, and I was like, well, something's off. Maybe my records are wrong. Maybe she doesn't know her records are wrong, something like that. And what it turns out is she said the place was built in 1880. It was originally just this like 1-story cottage in the middle of town on some farmland, things like that, and they added on to it, and eventually
this place is built like a maze.
It's literally built like a maze because I think one of the things is it was a speakeasy.
I think also too they were just adding on without a thought of how the finished product.
Well, right, because they ended up building over a well and all that, but I couldn't get the dates to match up at first and all that, and then she kind of pointed me in the right direction. She said, well, the original records office for the area had flooded out in 1920, and a lot of the records were destroyed. So when the records were destroyed, they like reissued them out, and they just like reset all the dates to 1920. So if you look at even a bunch of houses out there that are very obviously built in like 1880 and earlier,
they all say
they all say 1920, and they all say the same name on them. It's like really weird how they decided to like fix the problem. And I was like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit more sense. And so I was looking around. I was like, okay, so the public records that I pulled couldn't necessarily be trusted. And you had to kind of like dig around more. And I was looking through newspaper articles and stuff online. But yeah, the way the place is built is so cool, where like you go around a dark corner.
There should be a closet here. Nope, that's a staircase.
Yeah.
And upstairs, there's like, you go stairs up, you go stairs down, you go stairs back up, you go stairs back down. It makes no sense.
Well, modern floor plans are open. Like they're like you can get to everywhere. Like there's like a central location and it goes out. This place is not that. There's not a centralized area.
There's 2 kitchens.
There's a kitchen. Well, it's because the upstairs was rented out as apartments for a little while when it was a brothel.
So there's the bathroom downstairs, there's a bathroom upstairs, there's a kitchen downstairs, a kitchen upstairs. Then there's 2 bedrooms upstairs, and there's 2 sort of bedrooms downstairs and kind of a living area / dining room.
And then there's another room behind a door that you can't get to, and we don't know what's back there, but there's sounds. It's weird.
Is there meowing? Is it a ghost cat?
It's a ghost cat.
Quincy.
Ghost cat.
Quincy the cat.
Quincy, ghost cat. Anyway, it's real good, and it's weird the way the layout is. It's off-putting. Like, it's got that thing where, like, if you're standing in the wrong spot,
it just feels wrong.
It feels wrong. There's 3 kitchens in that house, because if you go through the main parlor room, there's a kitchen on the other side that you can't. It had a bunch of stuff in it across.
Oh yeah, okay, because it was for like 3 houses put together.
Yeah, it's nuts. And they built over the well. There was a well on the property, and they like built over it. And at some point, they like uncovered it, and then they've made like a hole.
They put the plexiglass box thing over it and put some lights down there so you can see.
Yeah, and it's really cool. And we did some experiments in that, which we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, we proved the wells make infrasound thing like hardcore. But back to the history on it. So all the records don't really like match up, things like that. So I started going through newspaper articles all the way back to like 1850. And well, okay, so there's one thing from the investigation that's super relevant, and this is before I'm really getting into the history though. But we did get some EVPs, and it's on the live stream, and I'll play them for you guys again later in a little bit on here, and I'll show you guys the frequencies and all that too, because I can do that. It's awesome. But there's one set of EVPs that we caught at the time. And we knew we got him. We were like, hey, these are really awesome. The ones on file 2 down in the murder room.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Julie says mini Winchester house. That's actually what I was thinking about.
Oh, yeah. It's got this like real big Winchester vibe.
Silence of the Lambs. Well, it's not big enough to put someone down in it, especially not the American Girl from Silence of the Lambs. Does this home have any existing fireplaces? I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Does it?
It has a fireplace upstairs.
How did I miss this?
In that bedroom. It's in the wall because she's got them like boarded over.
Oh, okay.
And then then directly below that, on the floor below, there's a fireplace.
Are they both boarded over?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 boarded over fireplaces.
Yeah, there's fireplaces in there. But, okay, so we got one EVP that we knew about. We got another one that we didn't know about that I identified when we came home. And, I mean, it's loud,
yeah, it's
right?
Loud.
And it's loud and it's really distinct, and you can hear exactly what it says. It's Class A, bro.
It's Class A EVP.
It's Class A EVP. But, she asked, who died? What's the question you asked?
It was like, can you name someone who died here or who died here?
Yeah. You ask if somebody died here, and it's a very distinct voice. It says "mommy," and I hear it as "mommy." Like
to me, it sounds almost like a kid with an accent. Mummy?
It sounds like the Doctor Who kid.
Are you my mummy? Yeah, it sounds like mummy, or it sounds like Caitlin sucked her thumb for like 6 years. It sounds like a kid trying to talk around. Right. Sucking their thumb,
which is creepy anyway. Like little kid EVPs and things like that are pretty creepy. And I was like, okay,
because children are terrifying.
There's like a mommy thing, and I didn't think much of that. Past hey, I got a really good EVP. Yeah. I did think much of that, but not in any kind of context or anything. Yeah. So I'm doing all this history, and I'm going through all these reports, and I'm just reading about Gainesville in general, because I don't even know a whole lot about Gainesville. And in 1886, I run across an article about a double homicide committed with a hatchet, and they don't know who did it. I'm reading, and it's the 2 women were killed in a one-story cottage on some farmland towards the middle of town. And the names of the people is Mamie, Mamie Bostic, and Jeannie Watkins. And like I'm reading it, and then I have to like do a double take because I'm like, wait a minute, because I read it as Mamie, Mamie, like that's how I would say it. I'm not sure how you actually pronounce it, and I don't know anybody with that name, but it kind of sounds like mommy, Mamie, mommy,
mommy.
Yeah, it could kind of be in there. And I'm just,
which is interesting because we never get anything close to intelligent response. Like a lot of times, if we get EVPs, like they'll be real clear, but it has nothing to do with the question.
Yeah, it has no bearing on the question.
We're like, hey, how are you today? And they're like, get out. That's usually how that goes.
Yeah, that's
not a thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, you could say like you could say it's more of a like residual, not intelligent or whatever. But this, it seems more like a direct response to what you were asking. And then I ran across that name, and I just kept reading more and more about this. And it was so cool the way I was discovering, because I've never heard of these killings before. And,
which is weird, because Allie's memorized every murder in,
the United States
ever.
Yeah. The first people arrested were basically 2 random black guys that lived in town. And they're like, oh, we have a lot of evidence against these people. And then they arrested some other guy. That and they're like, oh, we have a lot of evidence. They had
to eventually spread out from racism, and
Yeah, it's real weird. So there were like 3 or 4 arrests, and for whatever reason or another, nothing stuck. I guess they had really good alibis for 1886. It seems like if you were black in 1886, it didn't matter.
I was farming.
Yeah,
everyone was farming that day.
But I read more and more. The owner of the property, Mamie Bostic, was the daughter of the person that owned the house. And he was a wealthy rancher, and it was a ranch house, and he raised cattle. Oh crap, maybe I got it backwards. No. And Jeannie Watkins was visiting from out of town in Dallas, and she was staying there. Somebody came in the window, cut him up with a hatchet, and when the mom came downstairs, the mom basically saw him going out the window, and he took off. And then they end up arresting this guy like months later, named Beeson, W.L. Beeson. And he had supposedly confessed to his sister that he was going to rob the place. They woke up. He ended up killing him with a hatchet, and he left. And then he felt so guilty about it, he confessed, and they were gonna try him and kill him. And he ended up killing himself. But it was like case closed sort of thing. And then there were a whole bunch of articles that came out a few months after that, where people were like, he couldn't have done it because he worked for me, and we're like in another part of the country, and there's documents where he had signed into work. He had a very
solid alibi.
He had a completely solid alibi. So I really think this dude was coerced into a confession.
Or he was nuts, and just some people like to confess.
But I'm so excited over this because I'm just reading about this one killing, and I'm like, this is awesome. And then I run across a book called the Midnight Assassin, and it's about the first serial killer in the United States was apparently in Austin, that we know of. Was in Austin, and he was just killing women left and right with a hatchet. And they think that this killing was the last killing in the U.S. of that string of killings, and they never caught the guy. This one might be connected to that. Beeson might not be the right guy. And there's like 10 or 11 other killings in Austin that are hatchet killings.
Which makes this the second murder we've solved on the show.
Yes. We're 2 for 2. It's so cool, and I ended up the writer of the book, The Midnight Assassin. His name is Skip Hollandsworth, and he is a award-winning journalist for Texas Monthly, and I contacted him because the problem with all this research I've been doing, all this stuff I found that could possibly connect, is I can't find a mention of the address where Bostic and Watkins were killed. The only mentions are it's so-and-so's ranch or whatever, which I'm having a hard time. I need to do more research on that guy, because maybe I can find the address for his ranch or something. I haven't got that far yet. I'm still in the middle of this research. It's a small one-story cottage in the middle of town, which is exactly what this place is described as. And the thing is right where Hill House Manor is at, most of that was like farmland, and North Denton Street was called Cotton Street at the time, and that there were only like 2 houses on Cotton Street at the time.
I mean, does it really have to? So if you think ghosts are linked to murder,
it doesn't have to be that house,
or just in the area.
It doesn't have to be that house. It doesn't have to be in that area. I mean, in my head, you'd go visit other houses. I mean,
in my head, it doesn't matter who was murdered anywhere.
Maybe it's one of the only houses that's still standing from that point in time, so it migrated there. So it doesn't have to have happened there. And it's a lot of little things kind of line up, but it was so cool reading about this through newspaper articles, because it was like I was in 1886 reading about this thing happening in Gainesville, and I'm like, this is awesome. And I thought I had I made the link to the Austin thing on my own, and I'm like, dude, does anybody know about this? This is awesome. Nobody knows about this serial killer. And I ran across the Midnight Assassin book, and there's another book that mentions these murders too, and I'm like, oh, someone's already done this. And so I bought the book. I already read the digital copy of it. It's pretty good. It's really informative. Doesn't have an address in it. I wrote a letter to Skip Hollandsworth to ask if anywhere I told him what we were up to. I was like, hey, just bear with me. This is how I got here. Do you know the address or the general location, anything like that? And he said, no, I don't have it. But he told me I could go to Austin to the to the university library, and that they had a bunch of newspaper articles there, and it might mention it. But I think if I do more research on the father, if he was a wealthy rancher, that means he was selling cattle and stuff like that, and so there's probably a mention of so and so's ranch on blah 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 street, or and it'll get me more in the vicinity. I'll be able to piece it together. But man, if I connect all that off of an EVP that I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool, that's gonna be really awesome. And I talked to Linda Hill, the owner of Hill House, and nobody's connected that to that. Like they had no knowledge of it, and she's like, yeah, talk about it, but don't say it's confirmed.
It's for sure, yeah, because we don't know for sure.
Which also makes me feel really good in my gut too, because there have been people in the past where I'm like, hey, this other thing happened, and they're like, oh yeah, that was definitely here. I'm like,
yeah, she's admitting to not knowing for sure, which always makes me feel better about a person.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical of the place, and I'm feeling a lot better about it, and as I learn more about it. But we got some cool stuff. It's a very cool location, and I very much liked investigating there in the winter.
Yeah, it was good in the winter, not so much in the summer.
Yeah.
Hello, I watched your videos on Amazon. I thought they were pretty good. Oh, thank you, Aiden.
Oh, thanks, Aiden. Yeah, I think they're pretty good too, but nobody else does. You should leave a good review.
They're okay. They're middling.
Yeah, they are. They're very middle of the road. We're working on our next videos. I think the next video is actually not going to be an investigation video. It's going to be about our process and what we do in it. And then we have a few more investigations under our belt that we're gonna try to put more videos out this year. Now that we're getting back to it.
But Hill House was a good first one, I think, to get back to.
Man,
it wasn't huge.
It's not huge. It's indoors. And we got to mess with a lot of stuff this time too. So we were working with our new infrasound recording unit, which if you don't know what that is, well, we talk about infrasound on here all the time. But
Julie does say a wealthy rancher might be listed with the Stockyardage Historical Group.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a really good idea, because he would have to come in for the stock show or whatever. So I might be able to look that up, because I know the family name, and I know his name, and
anyway,
not off the top of my head.
Sorry, infrasound.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we do a lot of research with infrasound, but one of the things we've been really...
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, infrasound is, low noise. It's below the human register of hearing.
It's the brown note.
But it vibrates your eardrums
and your colon.
And occasionally the fluid in your eyeballs, making you see ghost figures. So if you don't know what infrasound is, it causes a lot of people to feel like they have hauntings.
We've proven that it makes people feel uneasy. Like, we've blasted ourselves with infrasound, and it'll make you feel nuts. But we've actually put together an infrasound microphone that will transpose infrasound up to a level that we can hear it and we can listen in real time. And one of the things that we've always read and researched was that underground wells and moving
running water causes
infrasound. And I've always been kind of like, well, I mean, it makes sense, but how much could it actually put out? And so
turns out it's a krypton.
Yeah, so we put it in this well room, and I turned it on, and it just sounded like it was unnerving to listen to, because it was just like somebody playing the lowest bass note on a bass. Like, your dad was like, I hardly ever see your dad just amazed.
Yeah.
Or even remotely interested in what we do, for the most part. But he was just like, this is freaking awesome. This is so cool. And then the other thing we got to play with was the new laser mic.
The laser mic's cool. I like the laser mic.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, like, when kids used to do the cup thing on strings. This is like the most scienced out version of that.
It is like ever. Cracked out on science, because it's converting sound into photons, into light. And so it gives spirits this giant toolbox of things to play with. So now we can listen to them manipulating infrasound. We can listen to them manipulating. This is my daily
reminder that I do not believe in ghosts.
What do you believe in?
Not ghosts, sir. Anyway, so ghosts can play with photons, is what we're assuming.
It's an interesting thought. What does this guy say?
Oh, he's talking about Spanish slang for romantic partner, mommy.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's definitely a very valid possibility. That's not even the only evidence we got. So,
we saw a thing, me and Kristen. And we got the EVPs.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. I haven't been through all the video yet.
Yeah.
Because it
takes a really long time.
There's so many hours of footage just from multiple angles. But so what did you guys see?
So I was in the
and who saw what first? Run me through.
So I saw it first, and me, you, and Dad were upstairs. We were running EVPs, and I was in not the little kid bedroom, the one across the hall from the kitchen. Is that the little kid bedroom?
The one across.
Okay, the one on the other side.
Not
of the
one with the crib in it. The one with the big.
Okay, so
bed.
there's the bathroom, right? And the kitchen's on one side of the bathroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was in the room across from that, on the other side of the bathroom.
Oh, that's the baby room.
Okay,
that's what we call the baby room.
I was looking down.
It's basically a nursery up there.
I was looking down through to the kitchen, and I saw what looked like a shadow go from the kitchen and out that middle door in the bathroom.
Okay.
Towards the landing at the top of the
stairs. Like a human-sized shadow? Yeah. Like somebody walking?
Yeah. Because I said to you and Dad, I said, I don't know what this was. Maybe my eyes playing tricks on me, but I tagged it. I said, I thought I saw a shadow go into and out of the bathroom.
I'll have to go back. Well, if you tagged it vocally, that's good, because then I can sync up all the video and look at it from different angles.
And then when me, you, and Dad were playing poker in the kitchen, I don't know if it was before or after Dad had heard something, but Kristen said, just to let y'all know, I saw a shadow go through that bathroom. And when I went to go check the camera for the room it would have been in next, the camera went down.
Okay, so that was a really weird chain of events, and it was really unnerving too, because we're sitting there and we're playing poker, and I didn't.
Because there's supposedly a cowboy ghost that wants you to play poker. Anyway,
right.
That's why we're playing poker.
And I didn't think I was being offensive or aggressive, but I guess
you're like, come on, cowboy.
Well, I guess it's the way
you
I was.
Suck at poker, cowboy.
I wasn't saying. Oh, I started doing that after
you were
your dad.
kind of being a butthole.
I was doing it to unnerve your dad, but before that I wasn't, and I was. We don't have a name. It's just cowboy or whatever.
Well, if someone was like, "Hey, boy, you don't play poker, boy," that's basically what you were doing.
Okay, well. It worked.
Dad's like, I don't think he likes it. Maybe stop, Brad.
Yeah. What I like about that footage is your dad slowly backing away as we're playing, and I'm what are you doing, Don? He doesn't like. But we're all sitting up there, and we're playing, and it's like right after I'm like, come on, cowboy, what do you want, or whatever. You hear like something like like run in the room.
What I
like
heard
at
was
your
both.
dad.
What I heard was both you and Dad and Saul were backing up from the table at the exact same time.
Yeah, because
I was like, "What are y'all doing? What happened?"
And from my perspective, I don't know if I heard your dad freaking out or if I heard something freak your dad out.
Y'all both moved at the exact same time.
But I just heard.
He only responds to Kid Rock, cowboy. Oh God.
Maybe that's who's haunting the upstairs. It's just Kid Rock.
Kid Rock's still alive.
That doesn't matter. It's Kid Rock. Is he? Is he really?
Anyway, so y'all heard something run at you, and then wasn't it right after that Kristen got the?
Yeah. He jumps over. He points the camera down the way, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And we're just about to calm down. And Kristen goes, I just saw, by the way, over the radio.
I just saw a shadow go through the bathroom, the same place where I'd seen it.
Which is awesome. This is one of the first places where we've had a legit HQ set up. Like we had sound wired through the house.
Yeah, it was
through the whole house.
So Kristen's overlord watching everything.
Yeah, she's doing the thing from that movie Slither. Or what's the one with Alec Baldwin's brother where he's got all the cameras in the apartments and he's just watching people F all day.
You mean that documentary we watched?
Well, I guess that's the real life version. No, there's a thing where a guy's like a creepo. Anyway.
His shattered career haunts the place, Kid Rock.
It is dead.
Anyway, we had 4 cameras set up. And when Kristen saw the shadow, she checked the next room down to see if the shadow had gone into it. That camera went down. And the bathroom camera went down. And then the other camera upstairs went down. But the 4th camera...
It ran like a champ.
Yeah, because we thought, okay, it must be the batteries.
So with our setup, we have wireless CCTV cameras set up, and so they're all set up on these 12-volt battery packs instead of me running cables all through a house. It's so much easier. It's this thing I came up with.
And less likely to break your neck or someone trip over the camera.
Yeah, it works out a hell of a lot better, and it's like self-contained. Well, I've tested those battery packs, and we usually get about 6 hours out of them before we have to change out the battery packs. It's a little expensive, but it's well worth it. And the thing is we had only been investigating for about 4 hours, and then systematically 3 of our cameras, just one after another, all go down. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, but maybe the batteries just ran out.
Yeah.
But I had replaced all the batteries at the exact same time with
This is not to say the batteries didn't go out.
No, I mean...
We can't prove other way. It's just interesting that this is how it went down.
Yeah, it's... I mean, that's exactly what happened. It was the batteries were drained. The batteries were dead. But they were all replaced with the same
But there's
battery
that theory
packs.
that paranormal activity drains batteries.
And it just happened, the first one that went down just happened to be the one where she had spotted
the shadow. Yeah.
The shadow, and that one went down first, and then we're trying to check the other camera. Then that one goes down. Then we try to check the third camera. Then that one goes down. I'm like, well, it shouldn't be. I should have 2 more hours of battery, but maybe...
all the batteries are just run down.
But maybe the batteries are just run down. So I was waiting for the fourth one to go down because it had the same battery pack. It had the same charge, all that stuff. I checked it all beforehand. And that battery pack lasted for another 2.25 hours before I had to change the battery pack out on that, which I thought was really weird. Why would I could understand one battery pack being defective, but 3 being defective and then in 1 going. So I thought that was really cool, and it was right as a chain of events was happening,
which makes it more like one thing happening, okay, whatever, but like all the things happening at once makes it more interesting.
I never used to believe in the battery drain thing at all. I always thought that was just a stupid...
I still don't, but
it's weird that it keeps happening though. More often than not, and I keep proving that the battery pack's not bad because it'll happen. And I'm like, okay, let's test it, see how long it runs, and I'll abuse the hell out of it. I'll get it further away from the unit or something, so it has to work harder. Blah blah blah, and it'll run fine on the same amount of charge. And then we go back, and the batteries keep. And in certain situations, the batteries die, like at the Granbury jail. And I know Emilio and Carlos are going out there here pretty soon. Yeah. And one of the things I want them to do is take their equipment into that back room, because every time me and your dad take equipment into the room that's got the stove in it back there, we 50% of the time we'll just get sudden battery drain back there. That doesn't mean it's paranormal. There could be like some huge EMF field back there that causes it or something, but it's just kind of weird, and it happens more and more. And I noticed it happens when events are kind of going on sometimes. So there's not enough evidence to say scientifically there's a connection, but in the back of my head, I kind of think there is now.
It's like EMFs. Just getting EMFs is no big deal, but if you get an EMF while you get an EVP while something else happens, that's a lot more valid.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, some of the coincidences, and then it makes me think about like cause and effect sort of thing, because if you're getting really high EMFs while that other stuff's going on, then are the EMFs causing
it,
stuff?
or is it causing the EMF?
Right,
yeah.
And then you got a whole new set of questions. But it does kind of solidify that there is something going on, though. I mean, at least you can narrow it down to that. It's like, oh, I'm not imagining this because I have an instrument verifying there's something going on in here. And we were also using decibel meters and things like that. But we got some weird EMF patterns in the house too, because like I said, there's only 3 rooms that have power,
and the breaker box is on that side of the house.
Yeah, we showed that at the very beginning. That's one of the things we never show in our videos, and I showed that in the live stream that time. And I was getting EMFs on the complete opposite side of the house that has no power at all, and it was in that back bathroom in a place like we really shouldn't get them.
And there was no metals there, because I was looking around for something, because we've gotten them off iron before, but there was nothing.
You can get it off something that's ferrous. It'll pick up magnetism, but
there was nothing like that.
We weren't getting that, and I was saying, hey, take it up to a specific number, and it did it one time. And then the other thing I thought was interesting, I was like, well, what's on the other side of this wall? And it was the closet that everybody says has activity. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then I went back later with that same EMF detector, and I got 3 more EMF detectors with it, and I put all of them in there, and none of them hit. Even the one I had, which, because we could say that one is defective, right, and the other one is good, but that one didn't suddenly start getting hits or anything like what was happening. So I thought, I don't know, there was a lot of things that were real head scratchers, and then I got that photo in there. Let me see if I can bring that photo up. Why don't you talk about it?
It's an interesting picture. He took it in the well room, sort of facing this back hallway with the stairwell in it. And
I was doing the pre-photos, the mono wavelength thing.
And there's no lights. So he takes a picture, and it looks like there's a light on in the back hallway. But there's no, like you said, there's no electricity on that side of the house. So we looked through to see if one of us was back there with a flashlight, which would be crazy anyway because you didn't catch a person in the picture. We just caught the light. But it looks like someone's back there with a flashlight, or it looks like the light's on. But that's, I don't know how to debunk it because...
Okay, that's the one there. So let me do this and bring it up.
Yeah, I don't know how you debunk it because...
So, I was doing the long exposures like we would do for mono wavelength to debunk the dust, but the room I was in had the IR light in it, and so there was no way to actually do a real mono wavelength in there. So I was just taking duplicate pictures, running around. Let me get this.
So those, the purple lights, that's us. That's supposed to be there.
Here, I'm gonna blow this up for anybody that's looking at it. Right. So these purple lights are definitely not a ghost. Oh, look, I'm doing the bad thing. Oh, you know what? Here, I've got it.
You just messed stuff up, Brad.
Yeah, I got a way better.
Everybody watch him mess stuff up.
There we go. Okay, so the you can see my mouse on there. So these lights, that's not a ghost. That's our IR light, and that's invisible to us. We can't see that. And then if you've never been in the house, this is probably really confusing, but this is where the well is. And there's not that much, the room isn't lit that well. It's because I have the shutter so far open, it absorbs a ton of light. Yeah,
it has one little string of bluish looking lights down there.
Yeah. It's not lit that well. It doesn't look like that when you're in there. The light is just totally amplified when I take these pictures, right? But this is what the room is supposed to look like with that picture. And even this little haze over here, that's just a flare from the IR. And I was like, okay.
Because I just spotted that, and I was like, holy crap, that looks like just a person crawling on the floor. That's horrifying.
Yeah, you see how it's curved like that, and it's the exact curvature of that, and it's the same color. So it's the IR, whatever. But this door is totally blacked out, and what's inside that doorway, it's this little cramped angled hallway,
and you can't get into it from the other side because the floor's missing on part of it. Yeah, and it's covered with plastic.
And it wraps around and it goes to stairs that go upstairs. But there's no power in that room. There's some lights hanging in there, but they're dead fixtures. They're not. They can't be turned on.
There's no electricity.
There's nothing in there. When I'm taking these pictures, I'm the only one on this side of the house. I've confirmed Sarah, Kristen, and Dawn are all in
HQ.
The other side of the house, jacking around, because you can hear people through that wall, and I could hear y'all in there, and I didn't notice this while I was taking the picture either, right? But
so there is a door that goes to the kitchen in there, but it's nailed shut,
it's
or something.
Sealed over. So in the second picture, if you look, all of a sudden that room is illuminated. Now keep in mind, I'm not using a flash or anything like that. There's nobody in corridor to do that.
And there's no light source back there on its own.
And the thing is if that was somebody in there with a flashlight, you see how bright the well is? Mm-hmm. In me and
it would be so much brighter. Because,
it's so hard to explain to them.
This is a really dim light you're looking at.
Yeah, it's like one of those little pin lights from down the hall. If this was somebody in here with a flashlight, it would wash out the whole photo because it would absorb.
Go back to the first picture real quick.
And it would also be streaked because since. You got to remember, I'm keeping the shutter open for
So how quick did you take these two, one after the other?
So it takes 6 seconds to take the whole photo because it just it opens up, it absorbs the light. So if somebody walked through here,
we've done that before where they're streaked.
Yeah, you'll see them streaked all the way across.
And so it takes 6 seconds. You take the picture. How long do you wait in between picture 1 and picture 2?
Maybe like a second.
Okay.
And then it opens up and it instantly starts taking another
Okay, go back
6
to the
seconds.
other. So then this is just a second later. I mean, this is, 12 seconds later at most.
Yeah. So if it was somebody illuminating that with a flashlight, it would be streaked. It would be more washed out. And also, if somebody was in there with a flashlight, they would be going through or out that door, so you would see them go. They should have popped up.
And it's bright enough that you can see like the detail of the wall back there.
Yeah, it's so
in the
nuts.
Picture.
It just looks creepy.
It looks like a thumbprint almost. Yeah, because you're seeing the texture of the wall. Or it looks like a light ghost just peeking out to say hey.
Yeah, see, like this little light here, that's our audio unit that I have sitting on top of that little well thing. And that little light that's on, I've got it packed away or I'd show it. It's like this little dim LED, but it looks like this big bright like flash in here. So light's real deceiving. It's one of the ways we debunk dust and all that stuff. It's part of that light painting experiment that we do. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just really cool. And I want to say that that's another time that the mono wavelength thing is, but it's not mono wavelength. It's just an extended exposure. But it was done right. We did everything right in this picture. And when I go through and I do like a presentation and I do the video of it and all that, I'll be able to show exactly where everybody's at. Because the other thing is this second doorway that's over here. So
it loops around. So
right, yeah, it would go. You can't walk through that way because it's obstructed on the floor, but there's a doorway that goes between it. So if somebody was shining a flashlight on there,
they'd be standing right there.
You should be able to see them in there, and it would illuminate that room as well. Because there's that other little bathroom that's in there, and
there is that door to the kitchen, but it's like totally nailed shut. You can't you can't get it open.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that photo.
That light extends all the way into the room. Yeah, it looks insanely bright. It's interesting. It's a pretty cool picture.
It looked really cool on the viewfinder, for sure. Like, because I didn't notice it when I took it. It was like a few hours later. We're investigating, and I was just flipping through pictures. I was like, holy crap! I got a thing. I'm gonna have to look at the thing. I get like insanely excited, and then I'm like, I'm mad that I'm still on the investigation. I'm such a baby.
You are.
It's funny. We got some insanely good EVPs while we were there. I can bring those up too. What's the favorite one that we got?
What? I like the ghost kid saying "mommy."
Okay, you're going with Ghost Kid.
Well,
I thought people couldn't be ghosts.
I don't think they can.
You're backing up. You're backing up on me now.
Okay, the thing that sounds like a ghost kid saying "mommy." You knew what I meant. No, I don't think people can be ghosts. That's why I think murder has nothing to do with how many ghosts are in a place. But I do think the history is interesting, and it's good for people who believe that sort of thing.
Okay, here is let's do since the growls aren't as awesome as the let's do those first. And those are the first ones we heard on the live stream, and we said we wanted to.
The reason I think the growls aren't as awesome is because there's so many things they could be.
Right? Yeah, it could be your stomach growling.
Yeah, it's not, but it could be.
It could be. So I have these opened in my editor here, and here just for fun, I'm gonna show you these. Let me go back to the thing display. Check this out. The things I have marked here, all I've done is I've split them out of the main thing, and I increased the volume of them a little bit so it's easier for you guys to hear. But there's the only thing that's been done.
We also heard it live.
Yeah, we heard it live. You can go back to the live stream and listen to what we're doing, especially on the replays. Like you can hear it over the audio.
I'm listening to the playback and I say, "Hey, I hear a noise."
Yeah. So the only thing I've done on these is and you can kind of see, when
the waveform.
Yeah, when I stretch it out, you can look at it. Ooh, no! What did I do? What have I done?
What did you do, Red?
What have I done?
You made the bottom row tiny.
I did. I made the bottom so tiny.
Way to fail.
Oh my God.
Watch Red fail.
Okay. Anyway, the sound file, if you want the original sound file, I'll send you the original sound file if you don't believe me. I'm all about transparency with this group, guys. But anyway, so what I did is I pulled the parts that sounded kind of weird out, and I've boosted the volume a little bit. Because if I boost the volume of the whole thing, then when you hear it, the parts where Sarah's talking, it's, you grit your teeth because it's horrible.
Yeah, my voice is awful. Please don't listen.
Okay, so anyway, let me go to the beginning of this, and I will play it for you guys. I've got to... Oh, I remember this time I turned the desktop audio on. All right.
So it's after the second question.
Yeah, and if you're watching this visually, then you can visually look when to listen. But it looks like you asked one question. I'll just start it here.
Okay, so it's after this.
Whatever. I don't even know what the question is.
It's after me talking.
After this question, you'll hear the volume go up, and then you'll hear something. I'm going to mute us.
Can you tell me the name of the psychic who was here?
It's like a... yeah, it's so weird. I'll play it a few times, guys.
Can you tell me the name of the psychic who was here? Can you tell me the name of the psychic who was here?
There's like some whispering
Did you turn
before.
the desktop back on?
Huh? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was
Can
like,
they
can they hear
hear
us
it?
talking about
Can
it?
you tell me the name of the psychic who was here?
Yeah, they can hear seconds.
Okay.
But yeah, you can hear
Can you tell me the name of the psychic who
voice.
was here?
But that just could be anything. That's the only reason I don't think it's as cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an EVP.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
I
not...
mean, it's an EVP.
It's
but
not
what
a
is it?
it's not a class A, bro.
Then we got it again.
Yeah, okay. And then there's like a period of silence, and then you get to this.
Can you...
It almost sounds like a door like opens and closes.
You hear and right before you talk, you hear like a like you interrupted somebody, right? Let me just play that little section.
Can you tell me when... Can you tell me...
There's like a...
Listen, Mr. Ghost, I gave you an 8 count like I give all the other ghosts.
And then there's this one in that same session. And these are the ones we heard live. These are the ones you can definitely go back to the live stream and watch us like react to it and play it live, so obviously not edited. She asked the question, and then maybe like a second later, there's a section of audio where I guess it's a little bit of whispering.
Can you tell me who the original owner of this house was? Can you tell...
It's at the very end.
Well, and I can hear a little bit in the middle, and it's not super defined. Like, I can hear it, and it sounds really good on our headphones. I don't know how well anybody else would kind of hear it, Here's just the clip. It does sound like speech, though. Like somebody's like...
Julie says sounds like Sharon.
Sharon?
Like a person or like the name? Like, sorry. But anyway.
Sounds like somebody saying Sharon. Like Ozzy Osbourne.
Anyway.
Sharon!
Play the other one. The other one's cool.
Okay, so let me...
The other one's double cool. Because this one's lame.
I gotta find it.
Of course, I'm spoiled on EVPs because we get some really freaking good ones.
We've gotten a lot better at EVPs in the past.
We've gotten really good at being quiet. It suddenly all came together at Yoakum. Like everybody got silent.
Okay, let me do.
Which is a thing that never happened before.
I'm gonna do like a new project here, and I'm just gonna straight pull the raw file.
Okay.
In. I haven't done any editing to it. It's just the raw file. Now I got to remember where it's at is the problem. Is it here? Whoops, I hit Alt.
Can you tell me the name of the person?
Okay, here it is. I'm not even going to do any kind of like volume boosting. on this or anything, and we're going to see how this goes. And then I'll boost the volume, and then we can even play with, because I can make it a little bit slower and it's more articulate. After this question, we get what we think is a response.
Can you tell me the name of the person who died here?
So creepy. I hope you guys can hear that. This is at the volume that it was actually captured.
And now none of us hear this. Keep in mind that when we're there, no one hears it.
Yeah, we don't hear it live, and we missed it on the playback on the recorder. We probably discounted it as just background noise.
Can you tell me the name of the person who died here?
It obviously sounds like a kid.
I mean, I don't even have our headphones up that loud, and it's pretty good.
It's crazy we didn't hear it.
They should be able to hear it really good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split this off, right? I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one, so you guys can see what the process is I was going through. It's not editing of this of
just
the
changing
file.
the volume.
So I do this. I open it up. Here it is. It's just the same, right? So all I'm doing is I go here, and I'll show you what effect I'm using on it. I go to Take Effect. Volume adjustment. That's all I'm doing to it. And I'm just bringing up the volume a few decibels so that it's a little bit louder. I make it even louder. It's too loud.
Can you do the thing where you slow it?
Okay, yeah, I can slow it down. So I'm just gonna take this, move this out of the way, so we're not listening to any of this garbage because we're just listening to the word.
And what I've asked is, what's the name of the person who?
Yeah, we can go back. You want to listen to the?
Yeah, what's the exact question?
This exact question is.
Can you tell me the name of the person who died here?
Okay. So I'll ask is the name of the person who died here.
Okay, and you want me to time stretch it some?
Yeah, a little bit.
I believe that's. We'll just go 1, just a little bit slower. I don't know. It's pretty defined, and I hear mommy.
I hear mummy, but yeah.
Mommy.
Or like I said, it sounds like a kid talking around their thumb, like when they're sucking their thumb. Mommy.
I don't think that's the loudest EVP we've ever got.
No, Go Back Now from Kyle was the loudest EVP we've ever gotten, but that one's pretty freaking loud.
Which of those two?
Go Back Now.
You still like Go Back Now?
Yeah.
Better? Okay.
Because it's horrifying.
But I don't know. I'm kind of falling in love with this EVP because of the
articulate response.
It's articulate. It's intelligent, and I've found like history that could be linked to it. Like I found history in reverse order. Like I wasn't even looking for mommy or anything like that. I was just looking at all these old articles like, this is kind of cool, whatever. Double homicide. Mamie Bostic. Holy effing hell. I thought it was awesome.
It is awesome. It's a good EVP either way, but it's even
Am
cooler.
I just overly excitable about it?
Sometimes.
Okay.
But no, this one's pretty freaking cool.
I think we're awesome. What else sticks out in your head about this place?
That was the shadow, the cat.
I'm curious what they think. So normally we don't present this much evidence on the podcast.
But that EVP is pretty cool.
Right afterwards. We're going to try to do this more often because it takes us such a long time to put videos out and stuff. And I don't think it takes away from the video because we'll have like a whole presentation about the history and, maybe we debunk those.
Maybe.
In a few months or whatever. So by the time the video comes out, we have a better explanation for it and we can talk about, oh yeah, we even played it on our podcast thinking it was this and it turned out to be this. But, oh no. You don't think it was the cat, do you?
No. Okay, so I don't think it's the cat for a couple of reasons. What room are we in?
It's the murder room.
Is the one downstairs? I don't think it's the cat because the cat was gone. And the cat had been gone for a while. And I think no cat just meows once. You own a cat. How often is it just one meow?
I don't know, but if you mention her name, she'll start ruining our podcast.
It also doesn't sound like a cat to me. And I understand that cats can sound like babies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I played with that cat, and me and Kristen both played with that cat for a really long time, and it never made that noise.
I don't know. It's
okay, Sarah. If it's not a ghost, what is it? A cat.
I mean, was that clear to you guys? You know, on your end of the podcast, I'm hoping that comes through on this podcast just really good because we're wearing headphones. That's what always sucks about our videos and stuff because people are like, man, I had to try really hard to hear that, and it's like. It's there, and it's really hard to make it sound like a lot of people watch our videos on like a flat screen TV, and they don't have sound systems. And I'm like, your flat screen TV's speaker
are on the back,
and it's this freaking big, and the sound sucks, and it just pisses me off.
Julie says, okay, Sarah, if that's not a ghost, what is it? Okay, so just for clarification, I don't believe that humans die and become ghosts.
Yeah.
When people say ghost, that's what I link it with. That's not to say I don't think there's something out there going on. Because we come across too much crap, but I don't know what it is. A natural science process.
It's funny during this whole thing. Like
something I don't grasp.
I've expanded my idea of what a ghost is. I still don't think people die and go wander around like consciously.
Oh, Julie says the mum was loud. And
okay.
Catherine says it's very clear.
Oh, okay, good. That makes me happy. It makes me feel like I'm not nuts for hearing it.
No.
Like, because I'm prone to pareidolia just like everybody else. But I've expanded what I think a ghost is because I don't think I'm with you. I don't think people die.
I don't think people have souls and the souls come back and hang out and chat with us. I don't think that's a thing.
But I do think ghosts can be human, but it's more the recording thing. It's more the residual thing. It's not.
They're both listening on their phones. So
it's not like a human intelligence. If it's intelligent and it's like interacting with you, I've never really. And this is a very non-science thing, but it never feels human. It doesn't have that sort of human interaction sort of deal. And maybe that's just a problem with like the transcending. Because it isn't human anymore, but maybe it formerly was, but I just don't think that. But anytime we run across something where it seems like it's human, where it says like human things, or it looks like a human or something like that, it doesn't seem intelligent. Like it seems like a ghost, like the residual, the past recording sort of thing. Not for the reasons that Stone Tape Theory says, but I think it's still like a thing. That's just a bad explanation for it.
And my favorite, the closest explanation to me, the one that I think sounds more right in my head, is alternate dimensions. Which I guess sounds just as crazy as ghosts to a lot of people, except it has scientific backing.
It's so weird because, like, if I talk to a random person about, like, alternate dimensions and aliens...
I'm not sure why ghosts are any less crazy than alternate dimension, but people seem to think it is.
It's not, but I feel crazy talking about it. But the thing is it has scientific backing, whereas ghosts don't.
I mean, shoot,
but
there's
ghosts are more common.
Scientists right now trying to create portals to other dimensions by throwing sound waves at walls.
I find that very interesting, considering all the research we've put into infrasound.
And we talked about that on Jarrett's podcast. Was the lady that's throwing sound waves at a wall or a mirror? I can't remember. Trying to open up because she noticed photons going missing. When she was doing experiments, she would shoot them into a bottle and in an enclosed space, and these photons would just blink out of existence.
Yeah.
And so she hypothesized that they were going to an alternate dimension. So now she's going to try and use sound waves to open up. She's basically creating Stranger Things.
Exactly.
Which seems like a bad idea.
Sliders slipping, yes.
Yeah.
I love sliders.
I did too. But like to me that sounds like, okay, so maybe we came across a thin spot where there's an alternate dimension and that's how we got the EVP. To me sounds less crazy than human died, popped out of their body, and decided to hang out there on that day and converse with me. Just happens to speak our language and want to talk to me.
Okay. And we make it sound nuts because we're talking to each other and we know how like weird it is. But when you take this conversation out into the real world, that's the socially acceptable version. And if I talk about alternate dimensions or math or black holes,
well, math is just a nightmare,
and all that stuff, everybody's like, nah, bro. But the thing is like we've talked about it. Sasquatch has more of a chance of being real than ghosts.
Ghosts, yeah.
Because at least with Sasquatch, you're talking about an undiscovered species of something, which has happened.
It's a thing that happens.
Happens every year. Not with Sasquatch.
And not with things that big, usually. But
yeah, but it happens every year. Yet, no one's ever found a ghost.
I mean, shit, there's tribes in the Amazon with 50 people of them that we didn't discover till 10 years ago. Yeah. So if that can be a thing, why not Sasquatch?
So we make fun of the Sasquatch people, but the thing is they're following more valid science than we are.
Catherine
in a certain
says,
respect.
I think different dimensions are like different planes, similar language to me. There's lots of tales of the veil and being on different planes. See, to me, the idea that there's another dimension and someone happens to be having a conversation over there and we catch that, or there's alternate dimension us ghost hunting over there and we're catching ourselves, just anything seems more valid to me than human soul. But that's because I don't believe in souls. So
what do you think about human energy transferring to another dimension after it's exhausted?
I have no clue. If a chick shoots photons into a water bottle and she shoots 12 out and 4 go missing, then maybe part of us could do that, but I don't think all of us, because we
can't define,
go all apart when we die. We just shoot everywhere.
I mean, putting the religion part aside, like the idea of souls and stuff, our consciousness can't be defined. Like you can't do it. What is consciousness? It's synapses and neurons and things like, but it's thoughts. It's something you can't quantify. And it is energy.
It's super fun because I just read the His Dark Materials books, the Golden Compass books, and I understand these are children's books, but 99% of these books are freaking quantum mechanics. I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of quantum mechanics for a book about a 12-year-old.
I loved those books in middle school. That might be why I'm so into quantum mechanics.
The show came out on HBO, and you had mentioned to me reading it, and I just never had, and
because you told me the movie sucked or something.
I had never seen the movie because people said it sucked.
I like the movie,
but the show on HBO is amazing.
I need to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
But I do remember.
I need to borrow your HBO.
I do remember the church blasting it because it was written by an atheist.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of science in it too.
Well, I mean, the whole book is about what happens after you die. You just
disperse.
You disperse.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe part of us could go to another dimension, but I don't think all of us could. How much of us does it take to make consciousness or to form memory? Like, are we going to know this is happening? I sincerely doubt it.
Yeah, maybe you get to the other dimension and you're just as confused. You start ghost hunting over there because you're just as confused here, and it's just
another one. The Discovery on Netflix with the guy that usually does comedy movies. He was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Did we watch that?
I watched it with Allie.
It's good. It's good though.
It's good. It's about a guy whose dad finds scientific proof of the afterlife. He's basically flatlinersing himself.
Yeah. He's got like the machine, and you can watch it.
Yeah, it's basically an fMRI, but jumped up, and they're coding themselves so they can die for a few minutes. And he's seeing what happens after you die, and it's the idea that after you die, there's like other places you go. There's something else.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the movie is the premise is people have started committing mass suicide,
right? Yeah,
because they heard there's an afterlife, but no one has said what this afterlife is. It could suck. Like, they didn't prove you all die and go to heaven.
I never thought of that premise of it too. Is like, what if you proved ghosts in an afterlife existed or whatever? I never thought of what the repercussions of that could be until that movie, because all of a sudden everybody's like, I'd rather die. Like, suicide is like.
A lot of people don't commit suicide because they're scared of what's going to happen. So if you had some proof of what was going to happen, I do think suicide rates would spike. I don't think in a huge way, but I think they would spike.
I think you'd get more suicide cults.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Because that's the belief they labor under. I mean, we'll talk about that on Saturday, is they are very solid that there's something that happens next.
Yeah.
Steven says, I don't think there is anything to move on to. If there is, it's just... Is it just us, or do apes that can sign language count as well?
I mean, yeah. I mean, and that's
what quantifies a soul? I harped on, like, when I was
and that's why I put that out of the question. I was just talking about like random concepts.
But like when I was a Christian and a kid, that question got to me because I was like, but I love my cat. You mean my cat's not going to heaven? God, that question would give me such rage.
And like
I think it's interesting once they separate the demon from the body, what's left is just a shell. Oh, yeah, she's talking about his dark materials, like their soul is missing. Yeah, I really like that part of the book.
It brings up an interesting line to it too, because like if you're always thinking in terms of like good and evil, heaven and hell sort of afterlife, then you know, most dogmas would say like if you're ignorant, you're not evil, okay? Because you weren't malicious, right?
What's the age of
that's every living being on the planet except for humans. Like
the age of recognition in I was raised Baptist, so you've got an age you hit, and it's not like, so if you're Catholic, like what is it, 6 or 7, where suddenly you can take communion and you're responsible for your own behavior. And our religion, that our brand of faith, that wasn't a thing. So if it happened when you were 5, it happened when you were 5. If it happened when you were 12, it happened when you were 12. If you had some sort of mental deficit and it never happened, which is one of the things I liked about
it. Just seems like heaven would be overpopulated.
Because, man, when I tried to get...
There has to be more good, ignorant... Because, like, if your dog bites you, it's not evil. It doesn't know any better, right? So if every living thing has a soul... like period since the beginning of history.
They don't, though, not in that religion.
Oh, I don't.
I just remember
in my head
trying to get baptized. The preacher wouldn't let me for like 2 years because he didn't think I'd hit the right age. Like every couple months, he'd come over to the house and he'd interview me and ask me a bunch of questions. And if I didn't answer to his liking, he was like, "Don't think you're old enough."
See,
yet.
that doesn't sound culty and like, oh, we have to have some guy come examine you before we can dunk you in a bathtub.
Oh, he wasn't doing that. He's also, I really liked him. Actually, I had him come out and do my wedding because he said something really good. And he was like, "Don't trust me about any of this." He was like, "You need to study it." He was like, "I'm just the guy they're paying to do this. You need to." You read the book and do some stuff, which, as a preacher, I thought was a good thing for him to.
There's one in every crowd. There's some churches I like going to. They're like, I really like Unitarian churches and things. Well,
like that.
Well,
that's not a church.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, it's not a religion. It's a church, but it's not a religion. Julie says maybe we have to find the other dimension. That's what the white light's about. It's always interesting to me that my mom is super religious. And she was dead for quite a little while when I was 15. She coded at the hospital, and she saw nothing. Because, man, if someone was going to see something, I was betting on it being her.
Yeah, because she was super, super, super religious.
It still is, but that's just a black spot to her. She doesn't remember any of it. And I was like, that's weird. I was disappointed.
I really want to do a show on NDEs.
I thought we'd done one on NDEs.
No, we haven't done one yet. But what I wanted to do was get your mom on the show talking about an NDE. But I wanted to find somebody that had an NDE but had an experience.
There's a really cool show on Netflix called The OA, and the first season's about people with NDEs who come back with abilities.
Okay.
Like they suddenly are savants in an area, like they die and then suddenly they come back and they have like perfect pitch, or they can play violin or something.
Like flatliners.
It's a thing that happens. Like people with TBIs that come back knowing how to play piano, you can be a savant because of part of your brain that gets affected.
Like Dave Matthews?
In House, yeah.
Nah, I'm Dave Matthews.
Shut up. Oh my God. But anyway, yeah, my idea of ghosts really has never been dead person walking around, because when I was religious, dead people didn't do that. You went to heaven or hell. There was.
But it's funny. It's funny how your opinion has been shaped and changed just in the like 10 years. I haven't known you 10 years. I've known you 6 years.
Something like that.
Yeah,
7, I think.
Yeah, we've been doing this as long as I met you, and
I've been ghost hunting since I was 16.
Right, but I mean, like our brand. But when I first met you, like you're the one that came up with the thought process of doing repeat visits to locations, because you thought the spirits there might be antisocial or would get more used to us. That was the original thinking behind that. And we still follow that process because it produces results, but your thinking behind it has completely changed. You know, you no longer think it's like a thing that, well, I guess you do think sometimes it's a thing that has to get to know you. You just don't think it's human anymore.
I just don't think it's a dead person. Julie says, maybe we already read that one. Steven says, how smart does an animal have to be before it gets to move on? I don't know. There's some really smart monkeys out there, though. It's terrifying. Oh, and octopi.
I think there's several animals that really should just
heaven.
They should just inherit the earth from us because we're doing a horrible job right now.
Catherine says maybe it's like a dream and she just forgot her light at the end of the tunnel experience. I wonder that because the reason she coded was because they OD'd her on morphine. She had a PCI, the pump you put in over time. Or you like push the button for the morphine. Yeah. Instead of putting it into the machine, the nurse put the whole dose for the machine into her.
And see, I wonder how drugs affect that too. Like we were just watching the
like, did it wipe her experience? Did she have one and it just got
maybe?
Wiped out
I mean, we just watched the show Castle Rock.
Yeah.
And it's the people that were coming back to life or whatever. People that were on antidepressants and stuff like that, like the drugs affected the experience. I wonder if any of because modern medicine has progressed so much in the past 100 years, even just the last 50 years.
Honestly, I'm kind of amazed we're not doing experiments where you're putting people that are dying in fMRIs, like in mass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But I wonder if some of the modern medicine we take, like opiates or
antidepressants
or
Lipitor,
any of these things that we use now that we wouldn't have used 100 years ago.
Well, opiates
affects your dying experience or affects your ability to perceive the world around you.
We've been hopped up on opium since the beginning of human history.
Yeah. Opium. I want mushrooms so goddamn bad.
Antidepressants are newish.
Yeah, I'm on new antidepressants.
You think it'll affect your possession when we go ghost hunting next
time? I don't know. Maybe. Well, see, I'm also on new anxiety meds, so I'm wondering if that will actually affect our ghost hunts.
It'll affect your reactions to it, I'm sure.
Maybe, possibly. I'm not sure. There's been a few that we've gone on that I get really wound up beforehand.
You only get the light in the tunnel if there was a chance that you aren't coming back. Totally how it works. Thanks, Steven.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
I hope to never have an NDE and find out.
I don't know. I do want to do a show on NDEs. So we're getting towards the wrap-up point, but we have a lot of stuff lined up for the year that we need to talk about. Yeah.
What?
Really? Oh my God. I can't even go on now.
What was our surprise? What surprise?
What surprise?
Oh, Julie asked, what was our surprise? You had a surprise?
Yeah, we were talking about the Hill House stuff and we presented evidence. Is that not enough of a surprise for you? Jesus, you power-hungry bitch.
Don't talk about your mom like that. Oh, my God.
She's got it coming.
That's Brad's mom. He's talking about his mom like that. Anyway, we have a thing for Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, we do.
With the Hangman's
Yeah,
people.
we totally do. Oh, I have like a video. I'm not going to play the video for that.
We'll be going back to warehouse number 9.
Yeah, we'll be...
maybe they are doing those experiments like it's all hush-hush, like they did the Germans really stop experiments. Or is there a shot-up sheet or like a creepy doctor that comes to your hospital bed?
Yeah, Dr. Kevorkian.
Huh.
No, February 14th, 15th, and 16th. You can catch us at Hangman's House of Horrors at 4400 Blue Mountain Road, but you need to
get tickets
ahead of time because
there's a dinner.
Yeah, so they're opening up the haunted house for $25 a ticket. You can do the escape room for like $100, I think, and then they're doing a catered dinner for 2 in Warehouse 9.
And it's Valentine's Day, but you don't have to be seeing this person. Bring your mom.
You could just bring a significant mate. It doesn't matter.
Bring a random person.
Bring a hobo. They're hungry.
Yeah, bring them.
That would be a nice Valentine's
gesture. And then we
gesture.
murder them in Warehouse 9 to prove stone tape theory.
Exactly. That's what I want to do. I want to murder a hobo at your Valentine's dinner.
That's the perfect Valentine's dinner. What are you talking about?
Anyway, during your dinner for two,
Steven, if you ever want to take me to a Valentine's dinner,
we'll be giving a presentation about all the evidence and stuff that we have found in there, and that package comes with, after the dinner, you get to do a live investigation with us. What are you laughing about?
Oh, it's just people. I was laughing at Catherine. I'm still laughing at Catherine's comment about the sign-up sheet for the murder experiment.
Okay. I think people are really excited about the hobo killing experience.
I'm also remembering the time she was with us in Warehouse 9, and me and her heard someone go up the stairs, and
I have loved going. So
and her mouth just got so foul.
I had to put together the new presentation for Warehouse 9, because we've done stuff in there, in just following all the colorful language that takes place, because the place just ramped up when we did those videos, and everybody's just like, and it's all her. It's all her. Just in the. I'm like, is that an EVP? No, that's just Cat in the back cussing like a sailor. Like, your dad was blushing.
Like, we used to think Allie was bad, but man,
she has been replaced as the chief.
Catherine, where are you from that you talk like that?
The trailer. Straight trailer mouth is what she's got, and I love her for it.
It was excellent. It's always going to be my favorite thing about that.
I like your face when we were at Hill House, and you were like, I'm trying to work on my language. He's like, well, you don't want me to hear you say fuck.
Thanks, Dad.
It was he's fitting in a lot better. Like, there used to be this wall about we're working with Sarah's dad. We gotta
watch ourselves. But
we gotta behave.
That has ended.
No, it turns out that's over with. After he got scared a few times or whatever, he's like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Yeah.
And I've watched him, quote multiple scenes from, oh God, what's that freaking
Pulp Fiction?
Yes, after I've watched him quote some of the scenes of Pulp
Ezekiel
Fiction.
35.
No, the one with a lot of F words. I don't know, but I was like, holy crap. Catherine, you're so glad the cameras are off. The cameras were off for your curse word storm, but we were all there, and we will tell the tale.
I mean,
repeatedly.
That's part of the presentation, is just talking about all the bullshit.
And our friend Catherine got scared and said "fuck" 57 times in two sentences.
Fuck. Ran around. Yeah, that was great. So yeah, we're doing February 14th through 16th. If you go to the Hangman's Facebook page, or you go to the Hangman's website, we'll post up a link for it. You can get tickets for there's like a group package for, you can do all the events, or you can do whatever you like, but I think you should come out and see us. We'll be signing books, things like that, doing the presentation. You can do a hands-on ghost hunt there. So I think that's the most immediate thing coming up. In April, I'm really excited about this, because they had shut down the Tyler Paracon.
Yeah, because the guy that's doing it got
George Jones. He wasn't.
He's a really nice guy. And
he's he
ran a great convention.
And it's actually probably one of the best conventions.
Oh yeah.
that I've been to.
And there was so much cool stuff you could do.
I really liked the paranormal track at Dragon Con, but the it didn't have the same.
It's a different group of people.
Yeah. It really was like a side track. It was like people were kind of cool with it, and it was like a thing. But here, people were really enthusiastic about. And I've seen some cool. The first one we went to was probably still my favorite. Because the guy that was doing the thing on the Stephenville UFOs.
Oh yeah, he was so good. And UFOs aren't my thing at all, but he did such a good presentation and had all this evidence.
He had all the radar footage and everything, and I was in. I was like, this is awesome. And then I felt cool because I asked a really good question. He's like, are you a radar tech? And I'm like, no. And he's like, that's a damn good question, and he had to look into it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. That was good. Rose
volunteered to check for hobos. It was like a girl power hobo hunt. I notice on ghost hunts that guys are weird about checking things.
Hold on a second.